Hi, my name is Jessica Tollette, and I am the Senior Specialist for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion at Innovations for Poverty Action. I am delighted here to be with my colleague, who will introduce herself in just a moment, kind of giving a spotlight on women and celebrating International Women's History Month. So if you could introduce yourself, say your name, your role, and where you're based in IPA, that would be fantastic.
Thanks, Jessica. Very happy to join you on this very exciting conversation. So I'm Karine Kouacou. I'm the head of policy and the Right Fit Evidence Unit for Innovations for Poverty Action, a Francophone West Africa office. So my role basically is to ensure that all our engagements with policymakers, and especially the evidence that we create within IPAs, is used to inform policies in Francophone West Africa to alleviate poverty more generally. And we also empower the policymakers to use the evidence that we are producing, and also helping them in setting up strong monitoring and evaluation frameworks within the ministries, governments, but also NGOs partners. So this is basically what I do since 6 months that I've joined IPA.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you again for joining me today. So just to kind of kick us off, the theme for International Women's Day this year is Break the Bias. What do you think that IPA as an organization is doing to help break down stereotypes and bias against women?
This is such an interesting question, actually. To tell you the truth, this is my fifth employer. And this is the first time that I haven't heard a sexist comment. And this is reality. I mean, everywhere that I went, the first thing that you hear is sexist comments day on and day forth. So while reflecting on how the culture is so different at IPAs, I came to realize that it's perhaps because we do have a course around, harassment of any kinds that you have to take as a first assignment when you join IPA. So for me, it was really, I said, this is different, right? This is quite different. And I think that having at least this collective awareness that we want to, infuse from the beginning when you join IPA really plays a huge role on the kind of culture that the organization is trying to build. So, all the courses around ethics, code of conduct, around harassment of any forms, I think it's really pivotal in preventing our environment to be sexist. So yeah, I think this is what IPA is getting right. And what I've been noticing is that from the managers to the colleagues or more junior staff, everybody has the same mindset. So that means that perhaps the training is working well.
Great, I'm happy to hear that. Tell me a little bit about some of the women that inspire you most and why.
I think I've been fortunate enough to be surrounded by wonderful women. And this might sound cliche, but I will start with my own mother. I mean, I admire so much because of what she was able to accomplish. So my mother was, really instilled in me the value that I have. So from the beginning, she told me that it's not because I'm a woman that I cannot, achieve any such a thing. I never saw a difference in the way she raised my brothers and me. I mean, same thing, same opportunities, same chance, same everything. So I haven't felt a difference in my family as being a woman. And actually, this gave me the power to achieve everything that I want after that. And actually, when I see, and because of the way my mother raised us, even you can see in the eyes of my brothers, of my dad, of my uncle, the way they really value us as women, because we are simply human, So I think it takes really a strong woman to be able to pass it on a children, may they be girls or boys. And she was also very present in my education. I can remember time where my mother was my teacher at home, so ensuring that I'm getting my courses right, ensuring that I'm really in best shape when I go into important exams, etc. And she was my #1 cheerleader. And even me, I was sometimes surprised because my mom, she only had a secondary school degree, but she was able she remembered everything. And she was able to be a very good teacher for me. So this was really, I think, something that I will treasure forever. And finally, I'm really impressed by my mother entrepreneurship skills because she is an entrepreneur. She has small businesses that she runs. From far that I can remember, my mother was always on the go, but also taking care of her kids, her husband, her house, but a phenomenal entrepreneur. So I think that she has entrepreneurship skills way beyond any kind of MBAs, even from Harvard. And I'm so proud of her.
I'm so happy to hear that. I think I also heard you talking a little bit about, how your mom has influenced your brothers and your uncles. I'm curious to hear what role you think men play in helping to create gender equity around the world.
For myself, men also have to be first women cheerleader. We need that in our society, unfortunately, because we are not in a society where we is welcoming to women, unfortunately. So men, especially men who gravitate around more closely around women, has to be their first cheerleader. This is so empowering. For myself, I benefited from that. And I now realize how important it is when I face, sexist comments or toxic masculinity in the workplace, to see that, no, I have my dad. My dad is not like that. They are my brothers. They are not like that. And now, I'm fortunate enough to have a wonderful husband. He is my first cheerleader. And I think that men can really help the women around them to be confident, empowered to pursue their wildest dream.
I love that your husband is such an advocate and cheerleader for you. I'm very, very happy to hear that. I think just to close us off, I'm curious to hear what message do you want to share to help raise awareness around the importance of not just respecting women and cheerleading them, but celebrating them?
Yeah, I should admit something. As an African, I wasn't so keen of this Women's Day celebration. In the African context, because I've sensed that there are so many things to be done. And so concrete things to be done to ensure that, young women, not because they are children, they cannot pretend to be, managers in their workplace, because they will hear every day those sexist comments about, oh, you do have a kid, you cannot be a manager because you will be every day out of office, etc. So I was a little bit pissed in the way, this International Women's Day is approached in my country. But now I think I'm more, chilled about that, because I recognize that there are many things still to be done, but celebrating women, especially this day, is an opportunity to shed the light on them and recall them that recall to women themselves that they can do it. They can do it. At least one day in the whole year will remind us that we can do it. And I think it's important to really, have this confidence. And it's also a way to self-reflect and foster a collective discussion on how we can make our societies, organizations, families better places for women. Because of that, this day, everyone is talking about that. And in a way, you can, introduce this discussion in the, at the workplace, in the families, on how we can improve things. And so I think it's a good thing. And finally, celebrating women is also a collective reminder that we still need to do better in this regard. So yeah, now I'm more happy to to celebrate, the International Women's Day because of those reasons, and I'm really hoping that as the way are passing, the years are passing by, especially in our countries, in Francophone West Africa and in Africa in general, we will ask ourselves the right questions, and put in place the right reforms to really, empower women in our societies.
So too, and I do want to thank you so much for your time and for your thoughts and reflections and for sharing with us and helping us to celebrate. So thank you again, Karine.
Thank you, Jessica.